What's up, folks? Welcome back to Stream Catchers. I am your co-host, AB.
And I've got a lot to learn too. I'm Jack. What's up? How's it going, buddy?
Oh, man, doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to you and our motherly listeners. Very special day. So shout out to all of you for giving us life and keeping us sane.
Absolutely.
We've got episode 2 of the Bad Batch to talk about, titled Cut and Run. Initial thoughts on the episode, what you think?
It was good. It was fine. Riding the coattails of the first episode, it's going to be, a lot to expect, a lot to deliver on. And this was a slower moving episode. It picks up right where the first one left off, and we get to see what J-19 is, what the ally that Hunter was talking about, who that is, and that was sort of exciting to see that resolution. But as far as content, it was a little bit light. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a little light. I think that it was kind of what I was expecting this show to be. Just sort of, it's good. I don't think there was anything wrong with it. But, when you're looking at some of the other shows that Disney Plus has had, from Mando to Wanda to Falcon Winter Soldier, this isn't something that is going to be like cliffhangers or, it's just going to be sort of standalone episodes. You'll probably have an overarching story throughout the season. But this was really more character building and just sort of continuing what like you said, the story that we kind of left off on the first episode. So
yeah, I agree. This episode served a lot of function. You see Omega, kind of learn about life. She gets to experience places that aren't Camino. She gets to her and she and Hunter bond a little bit more in this episode, and I think that they nailed it as far as functionality. But yeah, it wasn't super exciting. There's really not a lot to talk about, to be honest with you. And stacking this show up with something like Mando, yeah, exactly. So there's just not a whole lot to explore and discover and talk about after the episode. So
that's kind of it. Like you said, they really dialed in on Omega and Hunter and that sort of relationship. Starting off the episode, they land on the planet and they sort of hop off. And this is the first time that Omega has been anywhere other than Camino. So she gets off and like the sunlight hits her. She's like looking at dirt, and I thought this was a really good spot for them to kind of flex their animation skills, because I just like the way the light hits her and there's like little dust particles sort of floating in the air, and she hops down. You see the puff of dirt pop up from her foot, and she's grabbing it and looking at it, and it's kind of funny to see where I would estimate she's probably in the range of like a 10-year-old.
Yeah, I would say probably 9 or 10 is my best guess.
Yeah, so imagine being 9 or 10, and for the first time you see something different, completely different, dirt and sun, and it's like, what is this? This is kind of wild.
Yeah, is this the first time she's seen like a sunny day? Is it always like rainy and stormy on Camino?
I would imagine, right?
I mean, every time we see it it's storming.
It's essentially a spot that's just around nothing but an ocean, from what I can tell, right? Just like building and so I would imagine that that's what that is. So that was kind of cool. Again, it was sort of a way for them to sort of showcase what they can do with animation, and it was a nice presentation.
Yeah, and they're really trying to connect the audience with Omega. We're supposed to see the world through her eyes, which is kind of refreshing. She's that character. She's the Luke Skywalker type, the person that doesn't know anything about the galaxy at large.
Yeah.
So yeah. I like her. I thought that. I know we talked about it a little bit in the first one, but I thought that I would be annoyed at a kid character, and I'm not. She's refreshing. She's a good character. I like her a lot.
I agree. I think she brings a lot of heart to the show. And I think I said it last week. She's sort of a vehicle for the kids, the child audience, to sort of have someone to connect to. If I was a kid, I don't know if I'd really connect to Hunter or Wrecker or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, that works. They get on Sector J-19. They run into the deserter, who you kind of predicted last week was going to be our first ally or sort of intrigue. So
Well, I knew it had to be either a clone or a Jedi, and I was, I was hoping that it would be Rex, which I'm pretty certain we're going to see Rex sooner or later.
so.
But yeah, Cut LaQuain, the deserter from early in the Clone Wars, I believe. I can't remember what season that was. Do you remember the deserter episode very much?
Honestly, no, I was hoping you did because I know you've watched it more recent than I did.
Well, I've got good news for you. I actually rewatched it this morning.
Oh, good.
It's a good episode. It makes it a little problematic with this episode because I don't know how the Bad Batch knows Cut, but they meet up and they seem like they're close friends, and they even go a step further. Cut and Sue's kids, whose names I forgot to write down,
Yeah.
they look up to Uncle Wrecker and hang on his arms and stuff. And but the episode with the deserter in the Clone Wars was a Rex episode. He was injured. He had hurt his arm, and Cut took him in, and he's got the same kids, obviously, but they're much littler.
Mhm.
They're probably 3 or 4,
Mhm.
and they're very excited to meet someone who looks just like Dad, and they want to pick his brain and everything. And he goes and has dinner with them, and then his Cut's kids get in a little bit of a scrap with some commando droids, and Rex has to help Cut defend his family. And the big problem of the episode or whatever was Rex deciding whether or not he was going to turn Cut in as a deserter. And of course he finds that he respects his lifestyle and kind of envies his choices to live his own life and make his own choices.
That starting to dawn back on me again. I kind of remember brief images of watching it. So
it was a good one, and if I'm being really, really honest, it was a better episode than the episode we're talking about today.
That's understandable though, because that was sort of deeper into the Clone Wars, and we're still setting the table for what the show is going to be, really.
That's right.
So, but they run the Bad Batch run into him and his family, and Omega sees other kids her age really for the first time, and you get to watch her sort of learn how to play ball, and she doesn't really know what to think of it, and that's pretty cool. Further, I guess, again, cementing Omega as like she's exploring the universe, doesn't really know what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah. What a weird experience to be a 10-year-old and to never have actually played with another kid.
Yeah. She didn't really know what was going on, and that sort of led to our first trouble that they run into in the episode where she goes beyond a fence that encases Cut in his family's house, and she goes beyond the fence to get the ball that she threw or was thrown to her. She didn't quite catch it. And then runs into a bit of trouble, and Hunter has to come out and save her. And that's the first big issue where he's like, oh, crap, there's a kid here. I don't really know how to do this. And he sort of lashes out at her.
Yeah, so this is kind of the first that we get to see of Hunter's paternal instinct, right? So we see, the kids invite Omega out to play ball, and, she gives him that look like, is this okay? And, Hunter just casually nods, and then he looks back to everybody else, and they're kind of looking at him like, oh, that was a cute moment. And he's like, what? And then, of course, afterwards, when she gets, when she finds herself in a little bit of danger with the space beast that was out beyond the fence, Hunter panics and is really worried because he sees her as his responsibility, and it really freaked him out. And he was definitely too hard on her, as a 9 or 10-year-old kid. That was a little much, his reaction. He kind of yelled at her a little bit, but I immediately afterwards, I think he knows what he's done and sees her really upset. And later in the episode, we get to see him, his softer side, his softer paternal side.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some growth moments there for the both of them, because when you think about it, she didn't have a father figure, and he's never had a kid, and
right.
So and he's sort of taking on that role, and you could tell she obviously looks up to him, all of them, but him more so, probably just because he's the leader of the group, and
right.
Has shown more of an affinity to her other that Echo and Tech really have. And Wrecker seems to get on with her pretty well, but there's definitely a connection there between Hunter and
Yeah.
Omega, and
Well,
again,
Wrecker's
that really adds the heart to the show.
right. Well, Wrecker's a bit of a kid himself, maturity wise, which I
Definitely,
love.
definitely. I want to
Yeah, and
rewind actually real quick. Oh, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say that, I think that Omega knows that it was Hunter's decision for the Bad Batch to go back and rescue her from Camino too. So,
Yeah, yeah. I was going to rewind just a second
mhm.
to a bit of dialogue when the Bad Batch meet up with Cut and his family. It's before Omega goes off and plays with the kids. They're sort of talking, catching up. They mention Rex, like you said. So I think I can agree. I think we will see him sooner rather than later, if not just like one episode maybe. But I think he will be in this. Is
Yeah,
that
they even say that Rex was there the day
just there?
before.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they're hot on his trail.
yeah. So it sounds like we could be seeing Rex. Hopefully, I'm a big fan of Captain Rex. I would love to see him pop up soon. Another thing they mentioned, Hunter was shocked when he found out about inhibitor chips.
Yes.
And so I could be grasping for straws here, but it's a short episode. There's not a lot else to talk about. So
Let's dive in.
let's dive into that, I think. Do you think there may be a plot line here with that, or do you think that might have just been a throwaway moment?
Honestly, I don't know if it was. I think it was more functionality than a throwaway moment because these characters didn't all know about inhibitor chips, and we find out that through Omega of all people that she knows pretty much everything about the clones and how they're made and how the inhibitor chips work, and I think that it's uh, a good way to showcase Omega's maturity,
Yeah.
and it's also a good way to catch our main characters, the Bad Batch up with to speed with everything that's going down with the ins and outs in Order 66, the inhibitor chips, kind of everything that they don't know about yet.
Right. I'm wondering if they learned that Crosshair, or is it Crosshair or Crossfire?
Crosshair.
Crosshair. I always forget. I'm wondering if they will seek out Rex because I mean they obviously don't know that his inhibitor chip has been taken care of, but I'm wondering if they will seek him out so that he can help them set Crosshair back to rejoin the team at some point. Maybe if that's sort of our main story, and because I can't imagine they want to end him or kill him or anything like that. But
Right.
obviously they know that there's something funky going on there with him, and maybe the
Well,
inhibitor chip plays into that.
right. And they were starting to see that in Crosshair even before his inhibitor chip, became hyperactive or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, I mean, they see Crosshair as a brother, so I don't think that I think that they're, right now their mission is to flee, to get away from the Empire and get away from Crosshair and all that. But you know, it more confrontation is coming. They're
Sure.
going to fight Crosshair again, and when the time comes, I don't think that anyone's actually going to pull the trigger on Crosshair because he's their brother.
Sure.
I,
Sure.
I, I
Yeah.
think that the plot line with the inhibitor chip, I think that's a safe bet. I think they'll probably try to get the inhibitor chip out of him or fix it or
Yeah.
what have you
I'm also
before
wondering
they
if
try to kill him.
I'm also wondering if that might play into maybe the rest of the clones, because at this point, the Empire is still deploying clones to do whatever they need to do, and we know eventually they turn to stormtroopers where they actually recruit bodies that they can
Right.
train and sort of brainwash the way that I guess you would say any sort of military would break your soldiers down so you can build them back up and how you want them to be. Um, I'm wondering if maybe they learn about this inhibitor chip and how to sort of fry it or remove it, and they can take some clones, take the chips out of them, and maybe have some extra allies. Maybe that would lead the Empire to then say, okay, we can't have this. We need to go to the stormtrooper route or however they want to do it.
Yeah, I don't think that's a logic leap. I think that's a good idea. You know, I feel like they didn't talk about it. They didn't talk about the inhibitor chips very much in this episode. I think I will. I think that is more of a safe bet if they continue to talk about them in future episodes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I was going to say something. I totally forgot what I was going to say. Um,
That's all
yeah.
right. That's all right. I know we've spent a few minutes talking about inhibitor when it was really only it could have just been a throwaway line that they threw in. Maybe you never know, right? It could be a seed that gets explored later in the season, or maybe it's just like a fun thing to talk about.
Well, yeah, when you have an episode like this, you kind of grasping at straws as far as speculate in the future and everything.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So it was
another thing to consider with the clones is they are operating on a short timeline, right? I mean, they've got so we've got 20 years between the events of between episodes 3 and 4. In the dark times, the Empire times,
Empire era.
right? But the clones. Okay, so let me backtrack. Tarkin doesn't want more clones. He wants people.
Right.
So the clones that they do have they've already established in episode 2, I want to say, Attack the Clones, that the clones have an accelerated life cycle.
Yeah.
And I would put the clones at maybe 30, 35, but they age twice as fast. So by the start of episode 4, they would be like 60s, right? I mean, they would be in their 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be, operational soldiers at that age.
No, not at all. I mean, I think that I think we will see clones go away and stormtroopers sort of rise in this show. I wouldn't be surprised.
I hope so. I hope you're right. I think that would be really exciting.
Yeah, to really see the switch, because I mean, for the longest time, all we really knew was you had clones and then you had stormtroopers. There's really no sort of explanation there outside of what George Lucas may have hinted at.
Right.
So sorry, there's like a plane or something. I hope that's not popping up. It's throwing me off. I'm like, wait a minute. God dang, that's loud.
That's all right.
It's really throwing me off. Sorry, folks. Yeah, there was another line in that dialogue though, where they mentioned Omega's purpose. They said all clones have a purpose.
Right.
And they just kind of said it, but there's nothing as far as what it is. Throwing you on the spot here. Do you have any ideas? I mean, we've seen her with the blaster, and it was as if she's training, even though we know she probably hasn't.
I will tell you, I don't think that is a beginner's luck moment. So far, they have led us to believe that her genetic defect or whatever is that she's hyper curious and hyper intuitive, and she learns fast. She's very smart.
Yeah.
At 9 or 10 years old, she was working as a medical assistant.
Yeah.
I here's, and you may disagree with me. I think that her purpose is, I think that she is an experiment. I think that they tried to make a force sensitive clone. I think that she may have midichlorians.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, right? I mean, we do know that they have experimented on force sensitive people, individuals, what have you. Mm-hmm. That was a plot in Mandalorian where they wanted to experiment on Baby Yoda, Grogu. So I mean, you never know. I don't know that I would say I don't know if I bank on it, but I would not be surprised, and I think that'd be pretty cool actually. Because I mean, yeah, you've seen. She is intuitive. She is smart. She is clever. You don't just pick up a blaster and you're great with it off the bat.
And she shot the rifle right out of Crosshair's hands first try.
Yeah. I agree. That wasn't a beginner's luck thing. There's something about her. And I again, that we could be grasping at straws here and but I don't think that was a throwaway line. The inhibitor chip might have just been a throwaway thing that they just wrote in there. I think that we are going to learn some more about Omega as this goes on.
Same.
Force sensitive, that would be a fun plot, though.
Well, okay, so what do you think? What would your guess be?
Man, it's tough. I really couldn't say. I mean, That might be better than any guess that I could make because, I mean, I don't imagine she's like another tech person or, another like marksman. I think if she's like Crosshair is.
Yeah, if she's like anybody in the Bad Batch, I would say it's Hunter.
Yeah,
because she has a little bit of that instinct edge. Right. Not in the soldier way that Hunter has it, but in the more of a maybe a mechanics way, or like a, I don't know. She just understands concepts, you know?
I agree. Actually, you know what? I don't think I could think of a better theory than force sensitive. I don't want to, you know how I am with my expectations, right? Because I don't want to set myself up to disappointment. But that's a fun theory. I like that a lot.
I hope that they explore that. I hope that that's, yeah. I agree. I'm not trying to get my hopes up, but if I were a betting man,
A
I think that's
gambling
what I would bet
man.
on. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess just to continue on with the show, we had the bit of a moment with Omega and Hunter, and really the whole point of the episode was the Empire has taken, they have set up post in on Sector J19, and now you have to have what's called a chain code to get off the planet. There's a shuttle that leaves conveniently in a few hours that they have
Right.
to help Cut and his family get off. So they sort of go through that process of Omega has had the interaction with Hunter. She's upset and scared. She goes to the ship. Everyone's trying to figure out how they're supposed to get into the area to get the chain codes. So they
Hmm.
call the Empire and let them know that there's this abandoned ship that Echo and Tech are on, that Omega
Yeah,
is also on.
they're gonna Trojan horse themselves into the Empire.
Exactly. Yeah, perfect example. So the ship gets taken by the Empire to this lot where they can get the chain codes, and lo and behold, Omega is on the ship. Um, from that point on, it's we got to get Omega, we got to get the chain codes, and that's sort of really the I guess the big boiling point of the episode.
That's the mission. Yeah.
Yeah. So um, they get the codes. Omega or Hunter wants to leave Omega with Cut and his family, which is kind of I don't know. How could you just be like, hey, I only have two kids, but do you mind taking this third one with you?
Well, I mean, I think that you're thinking of it in our world terms, right?
Sure.
Where, you have to have a job, and you have to, yeah, exactly. But like, they're living off the land. He's a simple farmer. It's
Yeah.
just another mouth to feed. She can run around, have fun, and I guess, I don't know, maybe it's a little easier of a burden for Hunter to ask Cut, for that. I don't know. It's not like they have to register her for school, and yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it's a more simple universe.
Sure. It's just you're right. I am thinking of it in our world. It was just a little funny where it's like I could just take another kid on. What are you
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about? But yeah, Omega doesn't want to go. She doesn't want to
yeah. Of
go, and
course
they're kind of
not. No.
going through that whole thing. And I don't know what you think of this final battle sort of thing where you have Tech and Echo are they've got the chain codes. Omega takes them. She's going to run them out to everyone else on the outside.
Right.
And so the ship is like magnetized. So Tech and Echo are trying to unmagnetize the ship. Clones have found them. They're getting to a bit of a shootout, and we see a bit of a line in the sand here where the Bad Batch is trying to escape and get away, and they got to get Omega, and it's the whole bunch of stuff's going on.
Yeah. So Omega gets a chance to be brave, and she is naturally brave. And yeah, she gets the chain codes to Cut and Sue in time, and that's when Hunter breaks the news to her that she can't come. She needs to go with Cut and Sue, and live a safe life.
Yeah.
And she goes along with it for she seems to go along with it. And then as the shootout starts, we see Omega running towards the Bad Batch's ship, which I haven't caught a name.
I
Does it
haven't
have
either.
a okay?
I haven't either.
I feel like that's a missed opportunity. They
I
need
feel
to name
every
that bad
ship
boy.
has a name, right? They gotta
Yeah,
designate the ship.
yeah. So and then Hunter sees Omega and panics and runs out into the front lines, kicks ass, kills a bunch of clones, and they recover Omega safely, get her back on the ship, and then they have a little heart to heart. She says, I know I messed up. I know I made a mistake, endangering the mission, putting myself in danger, all this. And she says, I've got a lot to learn. And that's when Hunter kind of gets real with her and says, I know that you want to be here and you want to stay here, and you should be able to do what you want to do,
Mm.
which is kind of the message from the Deserter episode of the Clone Wars, that you should be allowed to live a free life.
Yeah.
And he says that I've got a lot to learn too, and it's kind of a nice tender moment. Roll credits.
Yeah, yeah. So you get a little bit of excitement there. Hunter gets to show his combat skills a bit. You know, they're not wearing their Bad Batch uniforms. He doesn't have any weapons really. They pick up some clone trooper guns, but for the most part, he's just using a knife and his fists. And
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good way to sort of display his prowess and whatnot. And you know, you get to see the team work together. You get to see Omega have a bit of her moment as well, and the heart to heart there at the end. I think it's for me, it's helping me. I maybe not relate to the characters, but at least understand them more. I do enjoy the relationship so far between Hunter and Omega, and I'm really curious to see how that grows and becomes what it will become. And I am enjoying the show so far. I think it would be more fun to binge rather than watch weekly. But
I
I
don't
do.
disagree with that.
You what?
I said I don't disagree with that
Oh,
at all. I think that it would be a good, probably a better binge.
yeah, yeah. Because again, it didn't really give us much in the way of guessing what we're going to see next week. I do enjoy having something to watch weekly and something to
Mm-hmm.
look forward to, which I did. I looked forward to both episodes this week, and I enjoyed watching them. Um, again, yeah, I think it would be a better binge. But so far, the writing has been pretty good. The animation has been solid, and I am curious to see where our heroes go next. Any
Yeah, they're
thoughts on
doing
where
a
they
good.
might?
What would be next? They really didn't. Um, they didn't tease anything. Unless you went. I mean, you could argue that they're trying to find Rex, but I don't know. The less of a teaser cliffhanger this time than last.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I have no idea. But any other thoughts on the episode?
The only other thing that I wanted to say is, we've only gotten 2 episodes, but in both of them, as weird as it is to consider a 9 or 10-year-old girl to be a part of a squad of soldiers, she's kind of established herself, as a role. She's sneaky, she's quick.
Mhm.
She can get through places that, normal people can't, in terms of size, and in terms of, she's totally under the radar. I mean, she can sneak through a crowd where, the Bad Batch can't. I mean, they've got Wrecker. He's, he's like 7 foot tall, 300 pounds. He's a giant.
I
So,
think
she's sneaky. I like that role for her.
I think Yandu would say she's small and good for thieving.
Yeah, that's right.
Shout out to Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, I think that everybody sort of has a role, and she's figuring hers out as well. And I think this is one of those shows where we're going to get individual episodes per character, right? Like this was more of an Omega episode / Hunter. I think
Hmm.
we'll get episodes where they're more dedicated to Wrecker, dedicated to Tech, Echo. We'll see some more character development for them as well, hopefully. I hope that we get more for them because we just really haven't had much outside of some fun lines here and there. So
Right. I hope that you're right, because as the show stands now, it's hard for me to care about. It's kind of hard for me to care about Echo, and he was one of my favorites going into it.
mm,
He hasn't really gotten to do a whole lot, and the same goes for Tech.
I agree. And really the only reason that we like Wrecker is because he's probably the most entertaining.
Yeah, and he's funny.
Yeah, he's had the most sort of like funny lines and comic relief, and
I would
it's
definitely like
really
to see a
easy.
deeper side to him.
Yeah, yeah, it's really easy for him too because he can just come in and smash a droid on the head and help Omega out. But
Right.
yeah, I hope that we get some episodes that are dedicated to them to help further their characters along. Because I would agree it is hard to care about them right now, but we're
Yeah.
only a few episodes in, and so far so good. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to deeper episodes on the horizon for sure.
yeah, yeah. I also hope that we get some episode arcs as well. You know, I wouldn't mind a cliffhanger that has me sort of excited for the next week. So
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. So far, so good. I think that's all we have for this
that's
episode.
all I've got.
Yeah. So, but you know, I think we went about half an hour, and I didn't think we would. So, I'll
Not too
take it.
bad.
Yeah, I'll take
Yeah.
it. But thanks, folks, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And if you did catch episode 2 of The Bad Batch, let us know what you thought. Our Instagram and Twitter links are in the show notes for the episode, so check those out. If you're on YouTube, make sure to leave a comment, a like, and all that. If you could subscribe, that'd be great.
Hit that bell, I guess. Do they still have a bell? I don't actually know.
I don't know. Hit a bell.
I don't know.
If that
Go
works.
find a bell in a cabinet somewhere, hit it, and yeah.
Maybe cowbell. We could all use more cowbell. So
Yeah. All right, we're very much looking forward to episode 3, and we're also very excited to get started with Loki. We've been talking about that a lot too.
Yeah, as it is today, as we're recording, it's May 9th. I think it was moved to what, June 7th?
June 9th, I want to say.
We're a month away then. So
yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to it. And
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to Star Wars content that's live action as well. That's not that this is a bad show. This is a good show, but it's not on the same level as those live action shows. I'm looking forward to some content that's on that level too. So
same here. Yeah.
All right, folks.
So until next time, we'll catch you later.
Keep on keeping on.